Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. Thank you for watching on the YouTube and listening on the iTunes. A great way to support this show is to go to Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood, you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. For $5, you get bonus audio podcasts, and $10, you get bonus video. $20, I'll send you a copy of my DVD. $25, I'll interview you once a month on Skype. All great ways to support the show, and of course, positive reviews on iTunes and like and subscribe on the YouTube are all great ways to support the Political Vigilante. I'm here, I'm wearing my Batman shirt. Isn't that delightful? I've got the blue light on the Batman thing. Everything is great. And thank you, everybody who joined on the Super Chat Sunday this past Sunday, I believe is September 3rd. It's really cool interacting with all of you. I really dig doing it. And another great way that I get to interact with you is people like Logan D'Alessandro submit these fantastic articles. This is the $5 article level. That's full. I only take 30 of those a month because I do, 48 to 50 videos. So I can only take 30. Anyway, so this is what Logan D'Alessandro has sent me a lot of great stuff about various, like the student loan bubble and the pension bubble. Logan is very much paying attention to this. Logan, I wonder if you even work in the financial sector. Perhaps you do. I don't know. But whatever you do, you're sending me great stuff. One of the things in this article, and we'll go into the article in a second, is the government, Logan is talking about the government was reporting on U.S. household savings. They reported an outlandish number and then revised it to what was more in tune with reality. That reality, of course, meant that the U.S. household savings was $250 billion less than reported. That's not a big number, $250 billion. I mean, what's $250 billion? I mean, I probably have that in one of my backpacks or something. I mean, $250 billion. I mean, come on. I spend that like in a week. And he makes a great point, Logan D'Alessandro. If a corporation was using this tactic, the SEC would investigate and incarcerate the executives for such behavior. Of course, being the government, they can get away with such criminal behavior with reckless abandon. It's disgusting. This phenomenon started in late 2015, and it's been downhill on records ever since. Chart 2 shows the start date for it. So it's in zerohedge.com, which is where he gets a lot of these articles. And again, I'll put the link to this article in the notes on the YouTube. And I would highly suggest looking at these graphs and how they're revising it and what they're really showing. And it supports, a video I did a couple weeks ago about over half of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And right around 50 to 60% of the population can't handle a $500-600 emergency. And here's more evidence to that effect. So I'm going to just read the stats in this article. It's pretty number stat heavy. So I highly recommend going to the article itself, but I want to give you some of these numbers so you have an idea of what we're talking about. And again, thank you, Logan, for submitting this. As part of its historical revision to the GDP, the BEA also had to adjust personal income and spending with the full results released in today's July report. This came out August 1st. What was revealed was striking over the revised period. Disposable personal income for United States household was slashed cumulatively by over $120 billion to just under $14.4 trillion, while spending was revised higher by $105 billion. That's just above $13.8 trillion. There were two immediate consequences of this result. First, as the following table shows, that's below, that's in the article, while government pay has remained roughly flat over the past 3 years, growing in the mid 2% to mid 3% range, wages and salaries for private workers have been steadily declining. So how could people have more savings? As the blue line shows, and after hinting at a 4% year-over-year growth in February, wage growth has slumped to just 2.5% in June, the lowest since January 2014, when excluding the one-time sharp swoon observed by the end of 16. But a more troubling aspect of today's revision is what the drop in income and burst in spending means for the average household's bank account. Following the latest annual revision, what until last month was a 5.5% personal saving rate was revised sharply lower as a result of the ongoing downward and historical adjustment to personal income and usward adjustment spending to only 3.8%. So they were saying that it was 5.5% like a month or so ago, and now they're revising it to say it's only 3.8% of people's income is being saved. That's a lot of money. That's 226.3 billion in savings was just wiped away because they just revised this report. Do you see how precarious things are right now? We've been talking about this for a while, and it goes back to, I mean, when Obama came into power in 2008, we were in a giant global recession. Gas was $5 a gallon. We were in 2 wars that were unpopular, and Obama came in with hope and change, and I'm going to fix it, right? And in September of 2008, Bush gave roughly $700 billion to bail out the banks that were too big to fail. When Obama got sworn in January of 2009, shortly thereafter, beginning of February, he put another close to $700 billion to bail out the banks and, of course, didn't regulate them. I've talked about this at great length. And I was one of 5.2 million people that foreclosed on their home as a direct result of Obama and Bush's policies. Obama had 11 members of Goldman Sachs in his cabinet. Bush had around the same number. Goldman Sachs has won every major election since Reagan's first term. So, and this goes, how is this created? This is created by stuff like Bill Clinton overturning Glass-Steagall. Glass-Steagall was a piece of legislation that was drawn up by FDR when he came to power after the Great Depression. And there was so much banking regulation drawn up by FDR and the Democrats, primarily the Democratic Party in the House and Senate in the late 30s and early 40s. And then we had World War II, and after World War II, America enjoyed a lot of prosperity, so much so that the greatest era of prosperity, the 50s and 60s, was due to highly regulated banking and investment law. Highly, highly regulated. So we've been slowly deregulating this, and this is what we got people, and then when things go up, when healthcare costs go up 300-400%, when the cost of living and apartments and everything goes up hundreds of percentiles, and wages go up like handfuls of percentiles, this is what we get. America has no savings. What are you supposed to save? If you're going paycheck to paycheck, where is their extra? Where is their savings? Now, politicians and rich people would love to say, oh, and then you shouldn't be buying your fancy iPhone and this, that, and the other thing. How am I supposed to conduct business without a smartphone? I'm self-employed. I literally couldn't run my business without a laptop and a cell phone. I couldn't do it. So the rich keep getting tax breaks. And also, if Americans are being irresponsible with their money, is that because we have such great financial education in our public schools? Oh, wait, no, we don't. We don't teach that. We teach people how to be consumers, and we teach people how to be employees. That's it. We don't teach people financial responsibility. I would suggest reading this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That book changed my life, and it is I implore it to everybody. I would also ask you to read Dave Ramsey's book on financial management. It's very simple. Dave Ramsey, he's also a Christian, so he throws his Christian stuff in there. I'm not a Christian, but whatever, it didn't bother me. He gave very sound, practical money management skills, and that are pretty easy to implement if you're getting a steady paycheck. Now, I'm freelance, I'm self-employed, so it's a little harder because you get paid differently, but I would recommend those 2 books again. And if you're going to buy them in Amazon and use my affiliate link that's below. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Dave Ramsey's, I think it's called Financial University. And then, in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, there's a bunch of really good books to read that Robert Kiyosaki recommends reading. Both of these books are easy reads, like big print. They're real simple principles. They're not complicated. You don't have to be a financial whiz. I'm not a financial whiz. I don't have an MBA. And they're very sound books, and I would highly recommend them. So let's get back to this story, though. But the reason I tell you to bring those books is we've talked about this at great length on this show. The liberal institutions, the education system, courts, all that stuff, it's been hijacked. It's what Chris Hedges talks about in Death of the Liberal Class. So get proactive and take control of your life. And one of the things to do is take control of your finances, because they want you to be in debt. They want you to have a bunch of credit card debt and a car you can't afford. And they want you to have that. They want you to be in debt, because then they own and they control you. And then they can then the government cooks the books and makes it seem like, oh, there's all this money in savings. There isn't money in savings, because people are barely getting by. So take control of your financial freedom, your financial life, so that you can have financial freedom. That's what I talk about, voting with your dollars. I talk about that a lot. You're getting informed politically by coming here and other, Jimmy Dore and Young Turks and all those other places. Get yourself financially informed and read these books. Let's go back to the story. And this is the great point here, talking about the $226 billion that got wiped away. If only in some computer deep in the bowels of the BEA buildings, who as a result have much less purchasing power, following the revision in total personal savings in the U.S. is calculated by the BEA is now down only $546 billion, down from $79 billion before the revision. This means either households will have to incur this much incremental debt to continue on the previous spending trend line. So if they don't have this much savings, how are they going to keep this spending trend that's happening? Credit card debt. Again, they want you to be in debt. I have one credit card. I just got it. It has a $1,000 limit, and I just got it to help buy this computer, and it's 0 interest for 9 months. So I'm going to pay this computer off in 9 months. I'm going to just pay $100 a month, or it's a year, something like that. I'm going to pay it off so I don't have to have any interest. And I just need $1,000 in credit to buy airplane tickets every once in a while to help my business. But I do not want $5,000, $10,000 credit limits. I don't want them. I will not have them. Get rid of credit cards if you don't need them. How much incremental debt to continue on the previous spending trend line, or $250 billion in potential growth from the future economy? Recall 70% of U.S. GDP is the result of consumer spending, has just been chopped off. So that's the thing I want to leave you with. So if Americans don't have all this savings, where's the spending going to come from? We're a consumer economy. People need to spend money. That's how it's supposed to work, right? So if people don't have savings, then how are they going to keep spending? So they're either going to not spend, which will hurt the economy, or they're going to rack up a bunch of debt, which will hurt the economy down the road. We've talked about this numerous times with all these things. There is a housing bubble, there's a student loan bubble, there's a pension bubble, and now America doesn't have as much savings as was initially reported. And what you could say, what does this mean? Well, these reports affect the financial markets. They affect banks, they affect interest rates, they affect all this stuff. It's super complicated, and I don't get most of it. But I do know the basic connections of these things. So I thank you, Logan D'Alessandro, for giving us this and keeping us informed. And again, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Dave Ramsey's Financial University. Read them, study them, implement them. I use a Banktivity app. I track every penny in my savings. Everything I spend, I track it all. At the end of the year, I give my accountant a PDF where I know exactly how much I spent on anything for my business. Run your life that way. Put money in savings, because do you think the government's going to bail you out? They're not. They're going to screw you over and take your house and make you foreclose and make you join their system and rack up credit card debt and blah, 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 blah. That's what they want to do. Don't let them do it. Thanks for watching.